So here we are looking at question 4, which is from line 21. Alice is tempted to go down and join her friends and colleagues down to the end. Take a look here. This is the reader quote, the viewpoint quote that we have to respond to. It says this part of the story where Alice decides to continue digging for the object. That is my focus here. I definitely want to highlight that. Is very mysterious. That sounds to me like a good effect on the reader and suggests her discovery may be life-changing. So now I see there are 3 interesting parts to this. I've got a focus point. Alice decides to continue digging for the object, and then I learn 2 things about it that I need to try to prove I agree with. It's very mysterious, and her discovery might be life-changing. It asks me to what extent do I agree? I agree. And then it suggests that I consider the reasons why Alice decides to continue digging. Yep, that's that. And evaluate how the writer creates a sense of mystery. And of course, supporting my response with references to the text with quotes. So let's go through and I'll see if I can find reasons why Alice decides to continue digging, and also find places that are mysterious and suggestions that the discovery might be life-changing. So starting here, so I know Alice is very, very tired, very stressful, and we've got one bit of a reason here. If she stops now, she'll lose her momentum. Okay. That is kind of interesting, but I'm not really sure if it's mysterious or life-changing. It's very common, I think, that if you're doing something, you don't want to stop doing it partway through because you know you'll lose your momentum and it'll be harder for you to get started again. So let's keep going. Hopefully her luck's about to change. Well, that to me could be mysterious and could be life-changing maybe. It's kind of vague. It's not a whole lot I could say about it I can think of right now, but it's worth noticing. Here we've got something glinting. Now, she's looking for a Stone Age village, and if it's glinting, something shiny and metal, that sounds pretty interesting. It sounds like it could be gold or something. And then we see it's almost as if it was placed there by a giant hand. Definitely sounds mysterious to me. And then she can't make out what the object is. That's a little bit mysterious too. All right, then we know that Alice should fetch somebody or should tell somebody. She's not a real archaeologist, but we know that she wants to prove herself. So Alice is really worried about her reputation. That's something I can take a note of. And we know if she tells anybody about it, everyone will want to be involved. It will no longer be her discovery. So that tells me that she'll have to share credit. She definitely doesn't want to do that. So then I can think, okay, so how does this have to do with mysterious or life-changing? Well, definitely it's not very mysterious. I mean, if she finds something, then she'll get credit for it. That's not a mystery. But it does to me suggest it could be life-changing It could, like, set off her career. It could give her some fame in archaeology. So not only is this a reason to continue digging, this is also something to do with life changing. Then we've got, in the days and weeks to come, Alice will look back at this moment, this flash forward. We see that she remembers it very, very clearly. And that she's going to wonder how different things might have been. So very, very clearly, this feels to me that it's life-changing. Because future, she looks back and wonders what might have been. It's also, to me, implies it might be a bad change, possibly, just because, at least, I think the way things usually go, usually we don't look back on things that went really well for us and wonder how different things might have been. Usually we only do that for negative things in our lives. And now we've got this if she had played by the rules business. And this feels kind of mysterious and life-changing to me at the same time. Like, is she being punished? Something that she's wondering, oh, what if I had played by the rules? In the future, is she going to be punished? Or is something going to go wrong because she's digging, maybe? And then down here with Alice carrying on working, I'm not sure if this is mysterious necessarily. Other than that, maybe we've got a little bit of a cliffhanger here. I say it's a cliffhanger because I don't really know what's going to happen next. I don't really know whether Alice is going to find it or not. I don't know why Alice is going to look back to the moment or why she's going to wonder about it. So, got lots of things that I can write about here now. And I won't make you sit through the entire 4 paragraphs here because that would take far too long. I'll just do one of them. So, I'll start off by saying that I agree, and I'll say what part that I am agreeing with. So, I'll start off by saying that I strongly agree viewpoint in the quote that Alice's discovery may be life changing. There's my agreeing with the quote now. I think I'm going to write a Peter paragraph, and I think I'm going to want to write one about this here, about Alice wanting to prove herself. So, when we learn why Alice is continuing to dig by herself, we see that she wants to prove herself and is afraid that if she tells others of her find, it will no longer be her discovery. So, point, there's my evidence. So what is the writer trying to do here? Well, I think the writer is trying to show us Alice's motivation here. And I think the writer's showing us Alice's motivation here to try to show that Alice recognizes that it could be life-changing, we thought here. It could be boosting her career, so. I don't really see a technique here. So instead of calling it a technique, I want to point out that the writer is focusing on, he's using focus. So here the writer focuses on Alice's motivations. That's what the writer's focusing on. That's what I'll be using as my technique in this Peter paragraph. Here the writer focuses on Alice's motivations. Show us that she is being driven by her dreams of a career in archaeology. Now, let's go into an interesting word here. Yeah, so I think the phrase prove herself is interesting. The phrase prove herself suggests that she is trying to I'll say make a name for herself. Self field. And I also like the word her and her discovery. Now, her, what kind of word is that? That's a pronoun. It's a possessive pronoun. Possessive pronoun her in her discovery implies that she already thinks of this object as her own mind. I've explained some words, got my point, my evidence, got my technique, explained some words. Now I know what the reader is going to think. And I want to make sure I link it back because I always want to end my paragraphs with linking back somehow to the point I was making, the life-changing. The reader will, say, imagine that whatever Alice thinks, her discovery is going to change her life by giving her career an amazing boost. So that would be a Peter paragraph in which I explain that I agree with the viewpoint that, quote, Alice's discovery might be life-changing. I consider the reasons why Alice is deciding to continue digging here. I link that to the idea of it being life-changing for her. It could be life-changing because it could be giving her career an amazing boost. And I'm sticking to a Peter format here. Point to here, point to there, then evidence here, technique, talking about the focus and what it shows us here, words here, and then the effect on the reader here. And that is a Peter paragraph. Now, I'm not done at all yet because I still need to evaluate how the writer is creating a sense of mystery here. And I could probably explain a little bit more about how it could be life-changing. I could talk about this flash forward, about how things might have been different. So I've got a couple more things I could be writing about in my future paragraphs, but I'll leave those for you to work on. Good luck.